and think about you. I'm a single man. I hope you're single too. What's up, goats? Welcome on, welcome on. Just getting started. Gonna wait for a few more people to come on. If you guys got a topic you want to talk about today, let me have it. Post it in the comments. Feel free. I have a link. If anybody wants to come on and ask a question today, we'll do Q&A. It's really no topic for today, but if you have a question that you want answered, just let me know. I'll send you the link. I think I can send you the link. How the hell do I send the link? That's a good question. How I send the link. Um, if you I want to say if you come on, but I don't know how to send the link. Anyway, we're today I'm talking about bodyguards, talking about what's new with Katt Williams. What happened with Reggie Carroll, I think his name, Reginald Carroll, the comedian who was killed in Memphis, Tennessee by bodyguard who once was Katt Williams' bodyguard. So I'm going to talk about that today. Um, I'm going to talk about what's going on with Cardi B and how she got into the incident that she got into in 2018 with the security guard at a doctor's office. I'm just kind of heard about that. I wasn't even aware about Cardi B being involved in an incident with the security guard, but lo and behold, I find myself watching court TV today during my busy day. I just happened to catch a glimpse of it, so I clicked on and the I listened to a little bit of the trial to hear what was going on, and lo and behold, Cardi B is on on the stand talking about her incident with the security guard. So it gets to like how did we even how did we even get here? Caralucci, thank you so much. Here to spread some positivity. I hope your day is as wonderful as you. Stay amazing. Caralucci, I really appreciate that. That's we need more of that. You know, a lot of times people pop on here on the comments, it's judgmental, it's separatist. There's so much stuff going on in the world that we don't even know how to have a conversation with each other. And we just kind of insult each other over the internet. And I say it's the same thing. It's because there's no consequences. If you if people say some of the things that they say to people on the internet in real life, they probably wouldn't make it a few feet from where they stand. Mike Wilson, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, and thank you for the like. I love you, big dog. I appreciate that. So, and I appreciate all of you guys who keep coming back, listening to these lives. It really makes my channel grow. You're sharing the content, you're interacting with the content, and I really need to figure this out. So when I start doing, if I do lives from like a laptop, I can share the screen and bring you guys on. If But if I do it from the phone, I still haven't figured out how to bring people on. Let me see this. I had this little share button down here, but I should be able to share with you all and bring you on screen because that's what I want to do. And that's why I like to do it the long way, but the algorithm doesn't like the long way and it doesn't kick out my live feed to as much people as I do it when I do it the vertical way. So anyway, thank you guys for joining, but I want to have some interaction. Love for you guys to ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions as best I can. You can leave them in the comments and I'll do it like that. And then when we get to a point where I can bring you on screen, I love to bring you on screen. So for you all who are watching, yeah, here's somebody else. Before I go into that, the world is so chaotic. I just try to do my part. If I can make someone smile at least once a day, I feel good. Well, you should feel great because you made me smile at least 3 times since you jumped on this live. Thank you so much. Mimi Watts said hi. Mimi, hello, my dear. Appreciate it. I hope you are a female, but and I don't mean to insult anybody, but thank you for coming on. We all need to be uplifted by our new friends. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for spreading the positivity. So for you guys, um, some of these lives be wild. Sometimes I jump on here and it's 20, 30 people. Sometimes I jump on here, it's 80,000 people. And when you all tune into a live, what is it that what gets you to tune into the live? What do you actually want to hear? Yeah, tell me that. If you guys can just drop some of that, what do you want to hear? If I come on live, my goal for my YouTube lives are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I try to be on by 10 o'clock. I feel like that's a good time. If you don't think that's a good time, you guys need me to move it up 7, 8, 9. Let me know. But if 10 anywhere from 10 to 10:30, I get on and I try to talk about things. Eventually, I'm looking for if any of you all are in production, you got ideas that you think will make this live pop. Let me know. Let me know, and I love to have. I would love love to have your ideas. Send me an email, send me a DM, join my Discord, DM me on Instagram, TikTok. I answer all of that stuff, and I don't have any bots answering my stuff. It's me because I feel like the best way to have a good platform or a good channel is be approachable, and be accessible to people, be able to answer their questions. And interact with them. This is what it's all about. We don't have very much nowadays. We don't have very much interaction with people in person. So the interaction that we have on the internet is mostly confrontational. But if you were, if we're here on a social media platform, the least that we can do is be approachable and give people things to put in their toolbox that they could use in their life, their career, their businesses, etc. All right. Any tips to ch- chili, chilling, dialing? Any tips to make a woman so dependent on you she can't ever leave? Wow, that's a crazy question. Chili. I don't know if you guys can. Y'all see the comments that come up here? It's a chilling, dialing 98. Any tips to make a woman so dependent on you she can't ever leave? Well, I wouldn't. I think that's a crazy question. But my father said the only stupid question is the question that you don't ask. Any tips? So, well, I wouldn't have a person dependent on you. I wouldn't want to say dependent. I would say have a person who's in love with you. And the best way to do that is to be a good man, right? To be a good person. To be a man is supposed to be a provider, protector, right? And also to be of good stature, be a good character. Um, when people see you out in public, that they respect you. People respect you in your workplace, in your community. That is the way to have somebody in love with you, not dependent on you. And also, what is love? I think the word love. This is supposed to be a security channel. What the hell? Anyway, the word love, like friendship, and the word bro, and all that good sis, all of that stuff. I feel like it's just used so loosely, right? So what is love? And I think that goes down to the question. So somebody asked me if my woman cheated on me, would I mean, would I be mad? Would I be homicidal? Would I be suicidal? I said no. I wouldn't be any of that. I would be the best thing I could say is that I would be shocked. I would be 100% shocked that she wanted to leave me for someone else. And but when I think about love, love is, I mean, if I'm not happy with you, that I still love you. If you love somebody else, or if you found somebody else, I love you enough to let you go be with that person. Right? I just don't love you because you're with me. I love you for who you are and what we've had together, the time we had together, the experiences that we had together. And the so that's what I love you for, and I love you enough to let you be happy, because I feel like in a relationship you're there to support each other, help each other out, and make each other happy. But first, you have to be internally happy with yourself. And if a person that you're in love with, quote unquote, decides to leave, then they're seeking another part of life, another growth in life, or another level in life, and they feel that someone else can love them better than you. Then I think you let them go. I think you say, "Hey, I really love you. I want you to be happy with me or without me." You know, may God be with you. Invite me to the wedding. And I've always told the woman that I'm with, that if that's what you choose to do, you have my full permission. I won't be mad. I'll be around here sad trying to figure out how to wash clothes and all of that good stuff. But ultimately, I'm gonna be okay. So, um, I just said, is that a serious question? What should I do if I feel like a guy is leading me? What the hell? This is not a relationship channel. If you feel like a guy's leading you on, how the hell we even get into this type stuff? If you feel like a guy's leading you on, then ask him some real questions. If he can't answer those questions, then move on. And you have to know your value and what you're worth, and then you have to know what you're looking for. So now back to the topic, right? So the topic was this: if you have any questions about owning a company, I would say any company. I own a security company. For you all who don't know, I own a security company. And the name of my company is MVP Protective Services. It's located in Washington, D.C. Actually, is located about 5 minutes from the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. Um, I started the company in 2004. I just retired from, well, was in the process of retiring from the Metropolitan Police Department, where I was a police captain. I ran the third police district, the second police district, and they transferred me to the fourth police district. In the third police district, I was responsible for 450 people, sworn police officers, civilians underneath of me. There was lieutenants, sergeants, officers, civilians. We had extensive budget, a multi-million dollar budget that I was responsible for, working on crime plans, crime plans, community plans, and things like that. So that is my background. So I retired early. Retired from post-traumatic stress. During my career, I was involved in 7 police shootouts, 2 fatal, and then right before I retired, I had one of my officers. Well, actually, several of my officers to commit suicide. And after that, I started really having, kind of issues with law enforcement and where I stood in law enforcement and things of that nature. And for you all who are in law enforcement or security, post traumatic stress is a real thing. I think we definitely really need to talk about that. If you witness anything, if you've been in a shooting, if you've been shot, if you shot someone, if your partner shot someone, if you saw a car flipped over and people dead, if you saw it, if you saw someone burned in a fire, there are a lot of things that you see. People commit suicide. There are a lot of things that you see in law enforcement that could really mess you up. And for me, being involved in 7 police shootouts, I was considered a hero. So every time I would show up to work, man, that's the guy, man. This guy always in the shootouts. They want to get in the car with me. They want to be my partner. They want to ride with me. They always want to look for the action because I don't even know if it just was in me or if I was just a magnet for this type of shit. And it just used to happen to me all the time. So when you're considered a hero, it's really hard to take your cape off, so to speak. So those things law enforcement officers never talk about. They never tell you when they go home. They have flashbacks. So for me, I'm always thinking about if I get into a police shooting or I'm dreaming and I pull out my gun and my gun just falls out, all the bullets falls out, and I'm pulling the trigger and it's just click, 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 nothing's happening. Or I'm having night sweats or flashbacks of what happened, to shoot, all of this stuff. All that stuff goes through. But when you go to work, you put that cape on. Your kids think you're a hero. Your wife think you're a hero. All your family members think you're a hero. The community members think you're a hero. And all of your peers think that you're a hero. And a lot of people will look up to you. So you can never show a weak point. You can never show a chink in your armor. And ultimately, a lot of people never deal with it. Now, if you're in a law enforcement agency, you can get help. They have EAP, Employee Assistance Programs. I recommend that you go check if you're having any issues, thoughts of suicide, dealing with past traumas, things that you saw, relationship problems, because ultimately, post traumatic stress can result in relationship problems. It can result in suicide. It can result in people drinking on a job, people becoming drug addicts and things like that. Go get help is what I'm trying to say. Get therapy, get help, There are programs for you that can help push you through that thing and help you kind of cope on another level. So for me, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Um, Thank you, Bungie, for joining. Can you get a security? Yes. KG, I'm gonna come right back to that question. So, for me, post traumatic stress actually turned on. It's a superpower for me, right? Because I see everything, I hear everything, I see everything. You can't pull anything over on me. For a while, and this is, I mean, I think this is a good segue too. For a while, um, I say once you get in one police shooting, you probably get in two or more police shootings because your whole brain, your whole nervous system is rewired. Your senses become super heightened. Sometimes it's smells, sometimes it's hearing, sometimes it's vision. But your senses become super heightened, and you actually become almost like superhuman. So for some people it tears everything down and they can't go on and function. But for me, it made me a great candidate to be a bodyguard. And when I stepped into the executive protection industry, man, it has been amazing for me. And clients see it, people around my client, I say clients, I don't know who works in security, I don't know who works in executive protection or who's just a regular person watching. But when I say client or principal, you might hear me say client, principal, or protectee. So it's so this profession is so crazy. If I say if I say bodyguard, people who are supposed to be quote unquote professionals say, look, he's saying bodyguard, but it's supposed to be executive protection. Or if you say principal or you say client, or see, he don't know what he talk about. He says principal, but I mean he says client. It's supposed to be principal. I heard somebody say when I said entering and exiting a vehicle, people say in bussing and de bussing. I'm like, man, get out of here. Are you serious, man? I just want to talk plain the King's English, the plain English, so people who don't work in the profession know exactly what I'm talking about. In the law enforcement, we call in military, I think we call that jargon, JARGON. Pretty much, it's police talk that other people don't understand. But I'm gonna talk to you right here what it is, plain and simple. I'm talking about client, talk about bodyguard. Forget executive protection. Forget principal, protectee, all that stuff. I'm gonna keep it plain and simple. So anybody who turns this on, if you're 12 or 65, that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So once I retired and got into executive protection, became a bodyguard, it really helped me out. It really helped me protect my clients on another level because my all of my senses, I'm talking about everything. I could still smell the gunpowder from my shooting. So everything was heightened. So what's up, Larry Penton? And my man Bungie joined in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Um, God, okay. All right. So KG, so I got so much stuff to talk about, man. I got so much stuff to talk about. But no matter what line of business that you're in right now, no matter what line of business that you're in, you can. I'm Bungie. I'm going to send you and Larry these. Larry, I think it's great too. If you can jump on again, we'll get you back on. I'm going to send you guys the link from my computer. I asked y'all to do me a favor because on my computer, for some reason, I can get iMessages, but I can't see whose number who it is. I just see numbers. I don't see names. So send me a message and say this Bungie, this Larry, and I will send you guys the link so you can join on. And maybe you can post it here for anybody else who wants to join on and have questions too. So KG asks, KG, where are you from? But I'm going to answer your question. KG asks, can you get a security license if you are in law enforcement? Um, the question I wanna answer that question correctly, KG. So um, so are you talking about a security company license or a security guard license? And then, I mean, if you want to tell, you can tell what agency you work for. Then I can answer that question correctly. Um, so there's a lot of things going on in the executive protection industry, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what's going on with Katt Williams. I don't know if any of you all have seen the mugshot. I don't know if any of you all have heard the story, but recently, just reported, I think yesterday, somebody sent it to me. I don't know if it was Larry. Somebody sent it to me today. Yes, this morning that Katt Williams, a comedian on Katt Williams' tour, Reginald Carroll, he was murdered inside of a home in Memphis, Tennessee, that Katt Williams was renting out for some clothing line or something like that. So this guy was with Katt Williams on a tour. He he was with Katt Williams on a tour, and it was, I forgot, the Monique. It was Katt Williams, Monique, this guy Reginald Carroll, and somebody else, and they were on this tour, and they were in Memphis, Tennessee. And Reginald Carroll was in this house that Katt Williams was renting, and they said this was the merchandise house, and a lot of celebrities use this house or whatever. But he was renting the house, and there's really not a lot of information about the story, but that he was in the house and somebody shot him. That's the moral of the story. And it was not somebody. Here's the kicker: it was not just somebody that shot Reginald Carroll. It was Katt Williams' former bodyguard. And I want to see if I can pull this up on here on my phone, because the story is so amazing. When you start thinking about celebrities who are VIP celebrities, VIP celebrities who have um, who have bodyguards, you wonder, like, okay, what should that bodyguard look like, or what kind of background should that bodyguard have? And this is, I think, it's a good way for me to segue into this Cardi B thing too, because Cardi B is being sued for allegedly assaulting a security guard at a doctor's office that she went to in California. So but you ask, like, what kind of person should that be? Reginald Carroll, okay. What uh suspect? I'm gonna put Reginald Carroll suspect. And all right, yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right. No, that's not a good picture. Okay. This is a good picture. No, that's not a good picture. All right, I'm trying to get you guys a picture of this this suspect in this shooting. All right. So this guy who was Katt Williams' bodyguard at some point. I don't know if it was now or at some former time, previous time, that this guy was Katt Williams' bodyguard, and he's the person who is alleged to have murdered Reginald Carroll, the guy, the comedian that was on Katt Williams' tour. And this is the bodyguard. You guys can see that. And you can just look it up. Just look up Reginald Carroll. But that's the bodyguard. That's the person who Katt Williams had protecting him. And so you say, all right, well, Katt Williams is a street dude, so I get it. And a lot of guys, if you look at them, entertainers, rappers, they athletes, they don't hire a guy like me, clean cut and polished, suit and tie, that's going to show up, who's been trained, certified, trained people who work with all type of celebrities. They don't want that kind of guy. They want this kind of guy. They want this kind of guy that they can pay $250 for the day to protect them. 250, $300 tops. And that guy will work for 18, 24 hours for $250 a day. That's a lot of money to him. But when I always do this, I always tell, almost every show I do this. So let's just say he worked for 18 hours. So 215, $250 divided by 18 hours. All right, so he worked for 18 hours. He got paid $250. This is how much he made an hour. Don't worry about all the eights. Just look at what's in the front. $13.88 to protect a millionaire. And this is what a lot of these celebrities are doing. Um, yes, Green Loso, I am drunk. Can't you tell? Did just remember when we first started this? We got to a budget, and please let the comments run. Um don't don't take nothing off. Just let them run. I'll tell you when to moderate it. They say he got shot. Marie say he got shot 5 times. KG, I haven't forgot you. I'm coming back to your question. You got to tell me, like, when you say, are you I'm gonna come back to your question. So yes, he looks like a street thug. Yes, he looks like a street thug, and this is what a lot of the celebrities will hire. You look at Young Thug at his trial in Atlanta. He didn't have real bodyguards. Every now and then he'll have one guy, and the guys like they look for guys like 6'5", 6'8", 230 pounds, arms big as my torso. Those guys, a lot of those guys can't fight. A lot of those guys haven't been through any formal training, and a lot of them work by themselves. Is which is crazy. So why not, if you're making $2 million a show, $3 million a show, why not hire some guys, right? Let's just say we hire four guys and pay them $1,000 each. Just call that's $4,000. At least you know that you're protected. At least you know that you got some certified guys, and don't just flip through. I was gonna say the yellow pages, or we don't have the yellow pages, yellow book, or whatever they call it. We don't have it anymore. Let's do a Google search. When they're doing a search, look for somebody who's certified, qualified. Yes, it's going to cost you some money, but I can guarantee you this: if you get one of those 6'5", 6'8", 320, 280 pound guys who only go to the gym and to the gym and the gun range, then those guys will cost you more than that $4,000 a night. There have been many celebrities. Right now, I'm gonna bring on, not right now, but in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be bringing on a lawyer from New York who is actually suing a celebrity whose bodyguard punched somebody in the face on the streets of New York because the person wouldn't move off the sidewalk. This guy's not a law enforcement officer. He's not a police officer. You can't tell people to move, and if they don't move, so be it. Walk around them. But if there was more than one bodyguard, one more than one professional person, then this wouldn't even be called for. So this guy is why this case is developing. Reginald Carroll, the comedian, was shot by Katt Williams, either former or current bodyguard in Memphis, Tennessee. This is what you get when you hire those type of people. And again, let's just say let's just say he's his current bodyguard, but he wasn't with Katt Williams, because they didn't say if Katt Williams was on the scene. They just said that this guy went there and killed this guy. They didn't say if there were witnesses or anything else. But if he is Katt Williams' current bodyguard, whether he was with him or not with him, when the family sues, if he's his current bodyguard, it's going to cost him more than $4,000. It's going to cost him more than $250, because they're going to go after the people with the deep pockets, and that's just really what it is. And so, I talked about this. I posted a video of Jay-Z and Beyonce on my YouTube feed, on the shorts, where Julius, a nice guy. I've met him several times. I think he's polished for what he knows, but he's only limited by what he can do. Both Jay Z and Beyonce together collectively are worth over $1 billion. I get it. A lot of celebrities don't like. Hey, I don't want new people around me. I don't want all of these people around me. But if I trust, yes, Marie, Cat can afford professional security, right? But if I trust, for me, if I'm Jay Z, I trust Julius, then I trust you. I mean, I trust you wholeheartedly. I trust you to bring good people around me to handle my security. So what a lot of people are doing, especially Jay Z and Beyonce, I don't know if it's a thing like, hey, I just want to feel like I'm a part of the people. Yeah, nice. But you're not part of the people. Let's just keep it honest. Or if it's a money thing, and I don't know, they say the rich stay wealthy, or wealthy stay wealthy, the rich stay rich by not spending money. But why have the money if you're not going to spend it? So what a lot of them will do, and you'll see in that video on my YouTube short, is that and you'll see it in all of Beyonce videos. You see Julius walking with Beyonce, holding her hand. Check this shit out though. It's really wild. So, I don't like to, I'm not trying to come for nobody or anything like that. But if he's holding Beyonce's hand with one hand, and he has this, lately he's been carrying this Louis Vuitton purse box type thing. If my hands are full, how can I help you? and constantly people are running up behind behind Beyonce, and they're they're touching her, they're asking for autographs, they're saying stuff, they're jumping in, taking selfies, and all of this kind of good stuff. And it's just really weird. Like, I mean, you can afford the security. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And what they will do is they will go in and their venue security, and these venue security don't know anything about executive protection. And a lot of times the bodyguards will, hey, can you have a couple of guys assist me? Which is good work. Which is good work. When you're on your own and you don't have any help, you have to have those relationships with venue security. But time and time again, you will see these guys bring in venue security to help walk them to and from a car or to and from point A to point B, be it at the bathroom, the VIP, the bar, or wherever. And these people clearly don't know what they're doing. And people are still running in between the security, still taking selfies, still trying to touch the celebrities. It's insane. You see it with Russell Wilson and Sierra on. I have a YouTube short about that. You see it with Beyonce. You see it with ASAP Rocky. Why are these people doing this? Why are these people doing this? Greenlow, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching Greenlow. So it's always a bozo that has a comment. But Greenlow, so tell the people what you do for a living. See the people who come on here with all these crazy comments. A lot of time it's bots, but sometimes it's just dumbass people who have nothing else to do, and so they come and troll you on your live stream. But I appreciate it for them to say Green Loso has been on here for at least 10 minutes. So if he didn't like it, he could have checked out a long time ago. I know some of you guys, when you start watching stuff and scrolling and you don't like it, you just you just check out and leave. Like Paul says, Green Loso, if you're not interested, go ahead and leave. Exactly. Exactly. So this brings me to the point where we are with Cardi B right now. So Cardi B is also in court right now. Well, not right now. She's currently in a court trial that's going on. It's been going on for at least a week, and Cardi B was going to a doctor. She stopped in Los Angeles, and she had to go to for some kind of appointment. She looked up. She had somebody to refer her to a doctor, Dr. Finke, on Wilshire Boulevard, and they took her there. And again, Cardi B, one bodyguard, I believe his name was Kayvon Newton, and when he took her to the doctor, she didn't want him to go in. She said because it was a female doctor, OBGYN, she didn't want him in her business. And here's another reason. I don't know how many women are in here, and I've been trying to preach this to women. I'm an advocate for women in the executive protection space, even despite the debacle with President Trump during when he was running, when he was a presidential candidate in Butler, Pennsylvania, where they had the two short women or two or three short women, and they were trying to get Trump down, but Trump was like, 3 feet taller than these women. They like 5'8". He's like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", something like that. When he's there, and these women, so it was a debacle. One lady couldn't get her gun back in the holster, and people said DIE, or what it was. Is it a DIE, diversity, inclusion, something like that? Yeah. They were saying that they were those kind of hires and that women shouldn't be in this profession. Let me tell you, I know some women, and I will bring them on any live. I know some women that will run circles around most men in this industry and in law enforcement, and some of them in military. These are really, really sharp women. So I don't like to lump everything in one category and say that women just aren't good. There are some really, really good women that could do this job. In fact, there are really good women that are doing this job, and I believe that women, what's that, DEI? It's not DIE? Well, yeah, DIE is die. We'll see. Well, yeah, DEI, that sounds good. But I feel I've always made it. Candace, I wish she was on here. Candace Gibson, She's an executive protection agent for South Carolina. She works at the Capitol, and she handles a lot of the security for the congressmen, senators, and governors that come through South Carolina. So she's one of those women that I was talking about. Um, but every detail I have, most of my clients are women. I mean, Fortune 50 executives, heads of unions, labor unions, they're mostly women. I don't even know how I get them, how they find me, but they call me and sign me up. I sign them up and we start working. But I like to put women on those details. Now, before I would have women on details because if a woman goes into the bathroom, I can't go into a bathroom with them. And depending on how much notoriety, not notoriety, God, why I can't get that word, notoriety that they have, if they go into that bathroom, something could be waiting for them on the other side of the door. Um, Wow, Roger, you just told me something that I didn't know. One of my graduates was doing security for Chris Brown recently. I had another guy. I don't know if I can get Facebook up on that phone. A graduate from Houston class. He was so excited when he came through the class. I pinned him at the end of the class. Actually, during the detail, he sent me a picture this morning of him on a private jet, and he just came through the class last May. So he's really living a life. But when I'm working these details, I like to put women on the details. Now they have the unisex bathroom, so you can go in the bathroom with the women. But I still feel like having a woman touch on your security team brings volume to that detail. It allows the female client to connect directly with with the member of the security team and brings another level of comfortability. So women can do this job. So I don't know where most of these celebrities go. I had to be honest to get their bodyguards or executive protection agents. I think it's just really a referral. Somebody say who you use and this is the guy I use and they call them up. This is how most entertainment executive protection or security details work. A client is coming to Washington D.C. They call somebody. Somebody say, "Hey, I got a job. I got Cardi B is coming in here. We need like 4 guys. Can you handle that?" Okay, yeah. Then you hang up the phone with that guy. You get on the phone. You dial, "Hey, look, I got a hot detail. Cardi B's coming in. We need 4 guys, man. You got anybody?" Yeah, yeah. Well, I got somebody. And then what they do is they just get 4 guys that they know. Some of them have worked in executive protection. Some of them are police officers. Some of them work in the club, and some of them are just their friends that they know will show up. And that's really how these executive protection details work for celebrities, mostly in the music industry. But that's how that works because those guys, they're those clients. Let me cut myself. Those clients never ask for resumes or backgrounds or bios or LinkedIn profiles. They just say, okay, how much is this? You tell them how much it is, and then they'll say, okay, cool. These are the details. That's it. Have somebody at the hotel, have somebody at the airport. That is really it. And the unfortunate part is then you have all of those problems and lawsuits and issues going on. But I like to bring a woman on a detail with the woman. I think Cardi B should have a woman on her security detail. I don't want to know if that should be the main person or the second person. If she's sharp, she should be the main person. If a female principal or client prefers a man to be the main person, then have the female to be the second in charge or the assistant. So what happened with Cardi B? She didn't want the male in this instance a female bodyguard would have been perfect because she was going to the OBGYN. She didn't want the male in her business. So she had the male to drop her off at the door. Another issue with being a single bodyguard. She had the male to drop her off at the door, and then she walked into the building, while the male had to go find a parking space for the car. So that's the problem with being a single bodyguard because what do? If the client wants to go, then they really don't have protection. They just really had an Uber driver to drop them off, and they didn't need you at all. They could have just called the Uber from the house to the doctor's office or the hotel to the doctor's office. Or the other alternative is say, okay, well, we can't drop you off at the door. We got to circle the block, find a parking garage, and then walk 4 or 5 blocks to get to where we're going. That doesn't work either. So being a single bodyguard is not an effective thing to do. If you're going to have a single bodyguard, then you need to have a single bodyguard and a driver, at least a driver, not the bodyguard. I don't know how many of you all here are working in executive protection. You should never play a dual role. If you're playing a dual role, the client doesn't value you, and you need to go find another client. And a lot of people are just doing this for the money. You don't want to turn down the opportunity. You don't want to turn down the photo ops. You don't want to turn down bragging rights that you work with Cardi B or none of that stuff. So you just take the job, and you kind of make shit up on the fly. Handle it as it goes, and that's not the way to do protection at all. In fact, if anybody calls me for a single man executive protection detail, I'm not doing it. I'm really not. If they're high notoriety, I'm not doing it. If especially if they expect me to do dual roles, to drive and be an EP agent. Now, here's the problem. They say we got our own driver, so I don't get in the car with anybody. I picked up a job with Oracle. I don't know if you guys know what Oracle is. This is Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison as the head of Oracle, one of the richest men on the world. I think at that time, Larry Ellison was the number 7 richest man on the planet. I don't know what he is now. Somebody Google that for me and tell me what he is, how rich, where he falls under the richest people on the planet now. The other person who's the richest person on the planet, I work for him too, and you guys know exactly who that is. But at that time, I was working for Larry Ellison. I was home. I was chilling. I remember the day like it was yesterday. This was probably 2016. It was definitely 2016, 2016. I was home. I was chilling in my kitchen. I was cooking. Phone ring, and they had got my number. It was Larry Ellison's security team and the executive assistant team, and they asked me, could I talk? I said, sure, I could talk. They said, we're in search of a executive protection team who can drive our principal. And then they let me know. I fill out the non-disclosure agreements. They let me know what it was. And the reason they hired me is because the team that they had was just regular guys. They called up a black car service, and they got guys with dirty cars who couldn't speak the language and drove around and got them lost. And they were supposed to be on Andrews Air Force Base. They ended up in Southeast DC. You know anything about Southeast DC? That is not somewhere you want to be. Larry, thank you, Larry. Larry Ellison's net worth is 280 billion. Well, Larry Ellison is one of my clients. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna tap you in. Somebody, uh, maybe Bungie. Okay, Bungie, I'm gonna share the link with you now. What does that make him on the richest list? No, wrong person. On far as the richest people, where does that make Larry? Where does that rank him at with 280 billion? I don't even know who this is. Okay, I'm posting 280 billion. KG, the second. There it is. Larry Ellison is the second wealthiest person in the world, according to Forbes, with an estimated net worth. That's right. So these are the people who I work with. They call me up. Sometimes I'm amazed when my phone rings. It's the White House. It's Tesla. It's Oracle. It's I have so many people to call me, and I'm amazed. And you guys, I started this thing with the ironing board and a laptop. Freshly divorced, freshly retired. There's my man. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna bring you in, Larry. Come, I'll tell you when to send the request again. So and I just told my mom. I said I lived in a 1 bedroom apartment in Southeast DC. There were crackheads that ran up and down the stairs all night. I had mice in my apartment. I used to be scared of mice. I saw mice so much I wasn't even scared anymore. I just kindly walk over and stomp them out on Larry. I'm gonna bring you in, Larry. Give me a little bit. Well, I'm gonna bring you in after a certain segment. Um, and I would have roaches, man, and it was like the worst place that I could ever live. But I grew up like that, so I mean, when I grew up, we had rats, so the mice weren't like a big thing. Um, Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. I'm gonna come back and answer some of those questions. So, I asked my mom. I said, "Can I borrow your laptop?" She gave me a laptop, and man, I turned that laptop and that ironing board into what it is today. And I travel all over the world, and I work. I don't know why this thing keep coming. And I travel all over the world with people. So, um, okay, yeah, I got you guys. Just hold tight. I'm gonna bring you guys in a minute. I want to talk about this Cardi B thing. So the Cardi B thing is, I'm gonna get to that part. So Cardi B had the bodyguard drop off. She walked upstairs. She got in the elevator. She got off the elevator. When she got off the elevator, she approached she was a security guard was getting on the elevator, and they said, "Oh my God, Cardi B," and she was on the phone, and then she started videoing Cardi B, and then there was an incident between Cardi B and the bodyguard, and the bodyguard says, "Oh, she assaulted me, and I had to get plastic surgery on my face, and all of this good stuff." And then so she's suing. So the moral of the story is she's suing Cardi B for however much. Well, let me just tell you how lawsuits work. You only can there's compensatory damages and punitive damages. Compensatory damages is say, okay, we're going to compensate you. That's the word compensatory. We're going to compensate you for what you lost or what injuries were caused, right? Now, punitive, if you did something negligent, gross misconduct, excessive, then they said we're going to punish you for doing that. This was a simple fight. As most as this lady is going to get, at the most she's going to get, she can say, "Oh yeah, well I'm suffering. I was off of work." She made $13.10 an hour, so I'm certain that went to part of the motivation for her suing Cardi B. So the most she's going to get is her doctor's bills paid, and then she went to a psychologist, and said, "Oh, I have emotional distress." We're talking about a girl who's, I mean, if you watch the court tape, come on, somebody cursed at you and she said she called her the N word, and that and she was humiliating her. She's broken down and she couldn't work and she couldn't eat. Come on, man. Ain't nobody grew up in the hood and black. We all been through post traumatic stress. We seen our parents have said worse stuff to us. We've been through so much, and for you to go and sue because whatever and to go to a psychologist I think something had to already be wrong with her. Something had to be already be wrong with her. Oh, so look, and nonetheless, if her bodyguard was there, if she had a male or female bodyguard and she was there, they had a driver, they could at least walked her to the doctor's office and got seen her into the doctor's office, and then say, "Okay, I don't need to sit in here for your appointments. When you're ready, text me and we'll come up and meet you at the elevator." All of this stuff could have been avoided. So, a lot of this stuff is about educating the clients too, telling them what they need to do, what they don't need to do, what they need to have, what they don't need to have, and being okay with walking away if they don't comply. Um, Bungie. So the problem was you and Larry was trying to come on it at the same time, and I'm going to bring you guys on. Only one person can come on at a time when I'm doing it vertical. If I was doing it the horizontal way, I could bring you both got on at the same time. So I'm gonna have to bring you on. I'll tell you when to send the request, and then I'll bring you on because I'm going to segue into after this into a couple of more things. But before I do that, I want to shout out Safety First Firearms Training in Washington, D.C. You can get your concealed carry permit there. They sponsored this episode of this live stream. They do multi-state CCWs. You can get Maryland, you can get D.C., you can get Utah, you can get Virginia, and I believe Arizona, and those combined will give you 40 states where you can carry four, I think a little bit over 40, 42 states. We only have 50 states, so there's 8 states that you won't probably be able to carry in. And I think those like Iowa, Montana, some of those places, some places that you probably never go anyway. But this was safety first firearms training. After this go, after after this is over, I'm going to put the link to it in the description. The proprietor, the owner, is Kenneth Thornton. He's a longtime friend of mine. When I started my firearms training academy long ago, he was one of the people who was instrumental in helping me get that going. He's been a firearm instructor for 30 years. He works for the Department of Treasury, and he's a current police officer there and a firearm instructor for their entire police force. So a great guy. Make sure you check out fire safety first firearms training. The link will be in the description of this video when it wraps. Let's see. So she's not getting big money from Cardi B. She's just going to get her bills paid for. The judge is not going to give her any punitive damages. If she walk away, she'll walk away with anything. She'll walk away with her bills paid, maybe a couple of $1,000s, right, for the time that she missed off of work. They're not going to give her punitive damages for her being psychologically um, uh, fucked up. Excuse my language for lack of words. So psychologically messed up behind this, because nobody gets into a shoving match and then gets psychologically messed up. You shouldn't even have, they should have done a security evaluation on it. They should never, first of all, they should never let her work in security again. If she gets into an argument with somebody and there's a shoving match or however it goes down and you can't even handle that, but we say you're okay to protect the premises and other people on that premises. Come on, man. She should all of this stuff now. This is a litigious world. People run right to the court. This is what this is all about. I hope that she doesn't get a red penny. So KG, if you're still on here, KG, if you're still on here, all right, if you're a law enforcement officer, you can't get a security guard license. If you're a law enforcement officer and you're trying to open a security firm, you can do that, but it depends on if your agency allows it. So I would check your general orders, check with your supervisors and see if they allow you to do it. If they don't allow you to do it, most agencies, if you want to get a security license, you have to have military or law enforcement experience, and you have to have at least 5 years as a patrol officer in order to start a security company, or 3 years as a 3 years as a supervisor. And the same if you were just a security guard, you would have to have at least, I think it's 5 years as a security manager in order to start your own company. So just check your general orders and rules and regulations and be guided by that. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me and I'll make sure that I answer it. No, she's not getting big money. She's a liability and will not be hired by anyone. I 100% agree. Let's see what this hell message says. You look like a Billy Goat beard instead of a chin. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. If I would just let your comments show. Some people say weird stuff. So that's really what it is with these celebrities and bodyguards. Don't be cheap. If somebody hires you as a single bodyguard, it's up to you. Most people don't even do it for the money. They do it for the show. They want to say, I work with Jay-Z, I work with Beyonce, I work with Cardi B, I work with Rick Ross. See, here's the picture. Check out my Instagram. Doing all of this stuff, pointing at each other, and all of that good stuff. That doesn't mean anything to me. What I'm looking for, not at the end of the day, when I work with any celebrity, what I'm looking for is at the beginning of the day. Run me my money, because I'm not looking for you for no money. Pay me my money now so I can pay my people. And when it's over, if you ain't like me and I ain't like you, I don't never have to see you again. And I definitely don't have to chase you for my money. No, Fernando, I never worked with Bill Cosby. I never done that. So now segue into this. We're going to be going for almost an hour. Thank you guys for staying. If you like what you're hearing, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're not a member, become a member. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. If you want access to like my videos and my reviews that I do early, you want early access to that, become a member. And also, I'm going to start dropping other mementos and tokens and things in the member for only for members, so that you guys can, have a little bit of privilege that other people don't have. So it could be things on how to write a business plan. It could be risk assessment and reports. It could be security contracts. There could be discounts on training courses. There could be access to free webinars and seminars that we do around the country. So I encourage you to become a member, but make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there is benefit in becoming a member and subscribing to the channel. And if you feel like you want to drop me a super chat, drop me a super chat, man. It really helps the channel grow. I'm not. I'm every of course would say what's in it for me, but I'm here really for you guys. I'm really here to drop this knowledge, to give you things that other people are not willing to do. Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your comments as well. So hit those like buttons, become a member, send me a super chat. It's really appreciated. Now, Paul, Larry, I'm about to bring you on in 5 minutes. So no, I haven't worked for Jeff Bezos yet, but I feel like he'll be calling me soon. Listen, so here's what I want to talk about. Do you know that we have nearly 5 shootings, mass shootings every week? This is we're on the path to be this year to be the most violent active shooter mass shooting year that we've ever had. There was a shooting in Minneapolis today, just today. Was it today? Yeah, I believe at a church and school, school/church, where a 23-year-old went in there armed with a rifle, a pistol, and a shotgun, and shot multiple people who were in the church. And these people were in there. They said they were just going to mass. So just like the Dylan Roof guy in South Carolina, they were going in to pray. So the service was going on. And I see so many people who. Oh, is that Paul? Oh, Paul, man, I know that was you, Paul. Okay, Paul. Listen, Paul, let's get together. Let's get together this week. Let's get together this week or next week, and let's set that up, because I've been trying to come to Nigeria for a couple of years. So we're going to put that class in. I have been traveling a lot. Last year was 256 days. The previous year was 238 days. And so I need to actually put you guys on the calendar, figure out how we can get those payment plans and stuff working, so that I can come to your country. One, to train you, of course, but two, to further that relationship and that bond that we've already developed. So I definitely will make that happen. So that mass shooter thing, Larry, go ahead and send a request, Larry, so we're gonna bring you on. But I feel like there were a lot of people saying, okay, yeah, we're praying, we're just praying for the families, we're praying this, and it just really got me going. And I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole. It was like, okay, but they were already in there praying. So what are you praying for? When Dylan Roof went into the church in South Carolina and killed those people, he came in there and they were having prayer service. And every prayer service I've gone to, they says, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and all this stuff. We thank you for the people here. And we're about to depart, but let everybody go from this place to the next place safely, and let them have traveling mercies. So they were in there praying already. So now the shooter comes in, kills everybody, and then everybody is just saying we're praying for the family. I mean, that's just mind-boggling to me. Like, if they were already praying, they were already in direct communication with God. What are your prayers? What are your prayers going to do? And that goes again. I said I don't want to talk about this, because that could take you down a whole other rabbit hole. Like, did God not care? Does God answer prayers? And then somebody says, well, uh, is the will of God, and do he will his people to get killed? And they said, well, maybe you don't know, something was corrupt going on in that church. Well, nothing ever came out to say that anything was corrupt going on in that church. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's such a dichotomy that you can't get your head wrapped around it. Why would God allow this to happen? And that today there were 19 people killed in that school/church. 19 people. 3 of them were children. 3 children killed in a church going to mass by a mass shooter. So we have a epidemic of mass shooters, and I don't even think that gun laws can change that, making tougher gun laws. You know, they were trying to ban what I can't call it assault rifles, so AR rifles, right? They try to ban those and attach them to the active shooter thing. Larry, send that request, Larry, whenever you're ready. If you're still here, you go. They try to. There you go. What you doing up this late, man? Miss LP gonna get you there.
No, man, I'm good. Hold on a second.
All right. So they try to tie that to the rifles and that, but most of the shootings and mass shootings happen with handguns, not rifles, right? But this particular incident, and we call it mass violence now. That's what Larry and I talked about the last time we were on. Most of these mass violence incidents happen with handguns. Now, when I say that, this guy had a rifle, a shotgun, and a handgun, and he went in there and he did damage. So we'll bring Larry on. He's a trainer for my executive protection school. He trains and stop the bleed. He's also a paramedic. I always get it wrong. I got it. You know what? Instead of me doing this, Larry, tell him who you are and what you do.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, my name is Larry Penton. I am the CEO and co-founder of a company called Pending Consulting Solutions LLC, or PPCS LLC. We do two things. My wife, she's the president and the CFO. She does all the business consulting. She's a principal project manager, internationally known and recognized and respected for over 25 years doing HR and payroll. She works for a Fortune 100 company when she's not doing work for our company. And I do the emergency medical training. So CPR, stop the bleed. I'm a tactical emergency casualty care and tactical EMS consultant. Also, I'm a retired paramedic and firefighter. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. As well as born and raised, worked in practice. I was in EMS more than the fire side. Got into EMS in 2007. Retired as a COVID paramedic in 2020 in the early months of the pandemic. So when we were talking before, we talked about a number of things in terms of Stop the Bleed. So I teach Stop the Bleed for stopthebleed.org and the Stop the Bleed Coalition. They're both affiliated with the U.S. Department of Defense, the American College of Surgeons, the National Associations of Emergency Medical Technicians, and a bunch of other organizing bodies. I also teach for the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, and the Health and Safety Institute. Today's story is really tragic and it hits home for me, especially because, I always say LP loves all the kids. I went to Catholic school from first grade to sixth grade. So this story that happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, is especially touching to me because those young students were at school. This was their first week of school. We know most kids have gone back to school at least, if not this week, in the past 2 weeks. They were at the church. And for those that don't know, Catholic schools have a church that is on the property, typically is right next door to the school. For example, in St. Louis, Missouri, where I went to Catholic school, we had the church that was on the corner. There was a rectory, which is where the nuns stayed, that's attached to the church. There's a walkway, and then there's the school building that's right next to it. So these young students that were in school this morning, they were in the church sanctuary doing morning prayer. The suspect, the alleged perpetrator, had a firearm. He had a handgun, a pistol. He had a rifle. He had a shotgun. And they said that he had a possible smoke bomb that ATF and law enforcement found on the scene. He took one of the firearms, walked over to where the church was, shot through the church where the kids were praying at the time. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old were shot and killed in that sanctuary, and about 17 other kids were injured. He then, when law enforcement was arriving, Minneapolis PD, he killed himself, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So he was a coward. He didn't get into a firefight with law enforcement. He didn't surrender. He killed those kids and then killed himself instead of, just going about his daily business, because those kids had nothing to do with whatever his issue was. I got a message from a news source that said that MAGA, somebody in MAGA knew about this guy because they said he had written on one of his magazines something about killing Trump. And so I don't know how truthful that is, but what I will say is, as you stated, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, especially in this country. Emergencies happen every day, all day, and twice on Sunday. You said that at least there's 5 shootings that happen every week.
Every week.
And I second that. I always talk to people about being proactive in prevention, just like you do in the executive protection world. That's your primary goal, is preventing an emergency situation with that client, that principal. Same with me. Prevention is key. You're not going to be able to prevent every single thing, but our business is to mitigate the risk and the dangers that people may encounter. I know in this country, there's such a division in terms of firearms when it comes to the politics. I don't do the politics. I talk about public health, public safety, and firearm safety. And the reason that I do that is because I am not the expert, politically speaking, for firearms in terms of if you're pro or against and all that stuff. I am the public health expert. So what I talk about, and when I was on with you before, I gave an example, and I always tell people, here's how I don't lose people when we're talking about firearm safety, and when we're talking about how do you protect houses of worship, academic institutions, how do you protect businesses and people's executive protection clients. When was the last time that you heard of a story that was on the news locally, statewide, nationally, where a little kid got killed because they took a knife or a fork and stuck it into an outlet? Most people say either they never heard of a story like that in real life, or it's been so long ago. And I asked why. And most people are like, I kind of don't know. And I say, well, most parents or caregivers, when they know they're getting ready to have a child, what do? They baby-proof the house. They buy electrical outlet caps. They buy smoke detectors and smoke alarms and baby gates. They teach their kids as soon as they can walk, crawl, say, Mama and Dada, you don't touch the matches, the lighters, the gas, the stove. You don't touch my wallet, my keys. Nothing, whatever you don't want that kid to touch. Sometimes we threaten our kids within an inch of their life with those things. I say, great. Swap out any of those dangers that I just said with the firearm. It's going to be the same conversation. And here's the thing about what happened today. Excuse me. We know that there's a bunch of law enforcement in your neck of the woods. I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia right now. So I'm about 120 miles outside of DC. So when I heard the story today, I was talking to my cousin and we were talking about this because I got the story a few minutes before it kind of hit the major airways. And what the first thing it said was it was a church. I reached out to our brother, Mr. Tucker, Brian Tucker, because he's an executive protection pro, used to work with you, and now he's doing church security up in Chicago. And so I reached out to him because I interviewed him on our podcast called Trigger Warning Talk podcast, streaming on all platforms a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about how do you secure houses of worship because he's a church security director. We talked about firearm safety. We talked about executive protection, and that was just the part one. And then the next news story I got said it was at a school. So it's kind of like, was it at a school? Was it at a church? And then the rest of the story came out. For me, when we're talking about school safety or places of academic institutions, regardless if it's daycare all the way up to colleges and universities, I say that you can have law enforcement at those facilities, and most of these places have what they call a school resource officer, which is a licensed police officer in that location that is on duty. So for that school, that's more at the public schools. When you're talking about private, parochial schools, they don't typically have those school resource officers because they're private, they're parochial, so on and so forth. The public schools, the charter schools, most of them have those. I haven't seen a law enforcement officer at a private school, at a parochial school, at a Montessori, or something like that. I believe that needs to change. I believe that you can't just solve crime by just hiring a bunch of cops and just having them roam the streets. Okay? You got to attack the problem in that community. Crime typically is a poverty related issue. Poverty generates criminal behavior because people gonna get it however they gonna get it. They gotta rob you, they gotta steal it, if they gotta burglarize you, if they gotta whatever they gotta do to get that bag, that money, that item for whatever they want. It's a thing about crime. It's not a black on black crime that's stupid. Crime happens wherever you live. If you have an all white neighborhood, you're gonna have most of those crimes being committed by those primarily white residents. If you have an Asian community, same thing. If you have a black community, it's going to be the same thing. Those perpetrators are going to be primarily the race and makeup of that community. So there is no such thing as black on black crime. Crime is wherever it's going to happen, and most of the people that commit those crimes are people that make up that particular neighborhood, that community. So when we're talking about academic crime or crimes that happen at academic institutions, we got to look at what's going on with that perpetrator. I don't know if he had a manifesto. I know they're still doing all their investigations, so we'll find out in the coming days and weeks. And so my position is, how do we secure those places? Most people don't want to have their academic institutions looking like Fort Knox. I have no problem with that. It doesn't have to look like Fort Knox to secure it. Most people don't want to have the conversations about having more law enforcement in their schools because they feel like, oh, well, we don't want to have metal detectors in our schools. What is that going to look like? And I say, well, why not? You have metal detectors in place for better security. Now, that may not stop, that wouldn't have stopped what that young man did today because he started outside shooting. He didn't walk into the school like the guy that did the shooting in New York a couple of weeks ago, where he walked into the building and started shooting. So when we're talking about academic institutions, one of the things that I say, I don't care what type of school you have, private, parochial, charter, public, whatever type of school you have, I think it's a great idea to have metal detectors, not just the ones where you have to walk through that. I think some of these buildings may have to be refitted with bulletproof plexiglass. You don't have to replace all the windows. You can add a layer of either inside or outside, something that probably more on the inside instead of the outside, because if somebody does get into the school, those individuals, the students, the staff, whoever's in the building need a way to get out. So if you have those plexiglasses mounted on the outside, well, how are they going to remove it? Or how are they going to escape? Especially, it could be a fire hazard. So you have to have a plan in place to secure those windows. What if you're on multiple floors? If you have a school that's multi-level, how do you secure those individuals? How do they get out? Whether it's fire, whether it's an active threat. First of all, let me say this. I know we're talking about a shooting. When we're talking about active shooters, you got to use the whole term. It's active shooter / hostile events. Most people just say active shooter. My issue with that is there are some of these incidents that happen at academic institutions that don't involve firearms. Court TV just had a case that was adjudicated where the guy just got sentenced to 4 life sentences. This was at the University of Idaho, where he went and killed 4 students. It was not an active shooter situation. He killed those individuals. When that story first came out, I got it a few minutes before hit like CNN and Fox. It kept saying that this person committed this crime with a sharp-edged weapon. And they said that for days before they said it was a knife. No firearm, no explosive. Think about what happened in other situations. There's other situations where violence happens at school and it does not involve a firearm. Now, most of those stories are going to get the major airplay because of the gun issues and things that we have in this country. But here in Charlotte, where I live, in the Charlotte, North Carolina, CMS, or the Charlotte Mecklenburg School District, when we moved to Charlotte from St. Louis in 2020, from that 2020-2021 school year, they had over 300 acts of violence at that school. I think about maybe 25 of them involved a firearm. Most of them involved non-firearm related weapons. So all crime that happens at academic institutions that may cause a mass casualty response where 4 more people are critically injured, that does not make it just an active shooter situation. It's a hostile event. The government was supposed to be changing that term from active shooter hostile events to violent critical incidents. So I tell people all the time, stop using active shooter. The term should be violent critical incidents because that covers everything. Firearm related issues. It could be an explosive. It could be a chemical, biological, nuclear, radiological event. Anything that creates a mass casualty incident. Now, this didn't create a mass casualty incident in terms of deaths. We're talking about people that are critically injured. It doesn't have to be a death. You had 2 people that were killed. You had 17 that were injured, some of them critically. So that counts as a mass casualty incident. But just know that a death only does not constitute a mass casualty incident. It is a critical incident or it's an incident that has people critically injured. So they may be in the state of dying. It's something that maybe they end up being in the ICU. It's something that maybe they have to do some resuscitative methods for. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these breaking news stories. One of the things that I've run into is a lot of the schools, school administration, the parents, they don't want to think of their school as a place of a hostile event. I've had those individuals that I just named 10 or 15-minute video we can watch and download or something like that. Yeah. We don't want to have you come out and, it could frighten children and, we don't want them to be started, we got so much stuff that we got to focus on for school and we got to get them prepared for these lessons. It's just something that, if you could give us like a little brochure or something like that, I think that would be okay because they don't want to spend the time. And more often than that, they don't want to spend the money. Now, it's not like we're asking for $1 million per training or something like that. No. And I say, you know what? if you don't educate these administrators and these staff members and these students on how to be situationally aware before an incident happened, it's not a matter of if, but when and where your academic institution, your house of worship, your place of business, wherever you are, your favorite grocery store, your shopping mall. There was an incident last week at a Walmart where a guy walked in, and it was on YouTube. I saw it on YouTube where a guy walked into a Walmart and just randomly started running up to people, stabbing them. They got it on the security camera.
He stabbed 11 people. It was in Grand Traverse, Michigan.
Yeah. No firearm, no explosive. Walked right into Walmart. There's no metal detectors there or anything like that. It doesn't have to be a firearm. It created an incident that was causing people to be critically injured. And so we have to be aware that you can't be like, especially with our schools, we can't be like, oh, you know what, Melvin? I think most of it still is people think it's not going to happen here.
Oh
It's not going
yeah.
to happen in my
Oh
neighborhood.
yeah.
It's not going to happen in my school district. We live in an affluent community. Why would we have all of this stuff? This is a Catholic school. These kids, okay, it didn't happen at the school. It happened at our church. So why would we need all of that? Well, it's part of the school. I can tell you every parent that did not want to have that type of training.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they had active shooter hostile event training or not. So let me just state that for the record. I don't know if that school, I have to do some research on that, if they had any type of training for any violent critical incidents. I hope so, but I don't believe so because there was nothing that I saw in the news reports because they interviewed the students, some of the students. I didn't see any of the staff, but I saw a couple of the interviews where they interviewed the students, and all they did was just do what most people are going to do when the shooting starts. Everybody's going to crowd down, get low, get behind. They're going to do cover and concealment. Cover shields you. Concealment hides you. If I put my hand in front of my face, that's concealment. Okay, but the bullet's gonna still penetrate it. But if I hide behind, this wall right here, that's gonna shield those bullets from hitting me. Now they might still go through, but that bullet's gonna dissipate and break up. So I may only get a piece of it, or maybe nothing at all. They're not teaching a lot of this stuff in these schools because they don't want to have those real serious conversations. Safety training, education, and legal protection is the key for any academic institution or house of worship or wherever you are, that you have to have people like myself, shameless plug, that can come in and bring in other professionals that will come up with an emergency action plan. And that's what I want to leave everybody with. Everywhere you go, a grocery store, strip mall, house of worship, academic institution, business, everywhere you go, there should be an emergency action plan. And what that is, it's going to be something in a 3-ring binder. It's going to be something that's posted on the walls. It's going to be something that people may be able to access on their phone or their smart device that will show what do you do in certain situations. Tornadoes, fires, earthquakes, floods, violent critical incidents, whatever the situation is, there should be an emergency action plan that tells you what to do in that situation. Think about it like this. If you have Every school has special needs kids, whether they're autistic or they got headphones on because they can't deal with a lot of noise and a lot of chatter. What do you do for those kids when they start hearing firearms going off? What do you do for those kids that have physical issues, wheelchairs, or they're using crutches or what have you? How do you move those kids to safety in a violent critical incident when it happens? If you're in the church, where are some of the places that you go? Does it have a lower level? Does it have a basement? I'm in the South. We're in the South. Most places don't have basements. They may have a lower level, or it might be a split level facility, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so in the Midwest, basements are, just like having another finger, so everybody has a basement, but depending on what region of the country you're in, you may not have that. How do you secure those individuals, whether they're in for school, what if it was just a Sunday service that people just would come in that are in the neighborhood for that? This guy targeted that particular school and that particular church for a particular reason. And those individuals did not have any protection at all. None. That's a problem because if it can happen there, it's going to happen somewhere else, just like it happened before. Just like it happened today, it's going to happen, if not tomorrow, it's going to happen again in the near future because it's not a matter if, but when and where these incidents are going to happen. And as you always state, we have to be protecting our most precious commodities. Our most precious commodities are our babies. These are our principles. And it's up to us, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, our local leaders, our state leaders, our federal leaders to come together and stop having this cowardice, regardless of how you feel, how you vote, what you look like, how you identify. Bullets don't care about fill in the blank. People that want to commit crimes, like what that young man did today, they're going to do it. So it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when and where and what are we prepared to do to secure our precious commodities, which are the lives of the people that are entrusted with us, especially those administrators and those parents who sent their kids to school. There's two sets of parents that are planning a funeral.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell, and I'm gonna end with this. If we don't get proactive, we're gonna see more great funerals. We're going to see more great funerals if we don't get more proactive in protecting these soft targets. Okay, a soft target is a school, is a church, is a shopping mall, is a grocery store. It is something that typically does not have a lot of security, if any at all, armed or unarmed. Okay, we got to do better at protecting these soft targets, especially. I won't even say especially. Well, no, I'm going to say especially because we're talking about kids. So keep that in mind. I want to wish everybody peace and blessings, and just know that you have people like myself that are going to use their time and their talent and their voices. I don't bend. I don't scratch when I don't itch when I'm talking about these things. If somebody has a problem with what I've said, you're just going to have a problem with what I said, because do you rather hear what I'm saying and do something about it, or do you want to get another breaking news story and see these young bodies being carried out? We're just going to offer the family members prayers and flowers and all that stuff, and we're going to put a bunch of teddy bears in front of the churches and the schools. That's not fixing the problem. That's a problem. LPR.
Yeah, LP out. All right, Larry. I was gonna tell you, ask you to tell them about your how to find you, but I just posted your link down there. So anybody wants to learn about Stop the Bleed, first aid CPR, you are interested in taking a class, check out Larry Penton. Like I wouldn't tell you guys, I wouldn't bring anybody on here that I didn't trust, that I didn't think was good. It's not a sales, this is not a sales pitch, but we train about 100 people a year, so I guess, in executive protection, and that number is growing. But I don't trust anybody else to train my people to, except for Larry Penton and his former partner, who's now retired, Doc. So that says a lot, and just the caliber of people that we work with in the executive protection realm, be it the U.S. government, the top Fortune 500 companies. I'm talking when I talk top, I talk about from 1 to 50. The like I told you guys, I protect Larry Ellison, I protect Elon Musk. These are my clients, and where I got my training from. just in case we get into a critical incident where I need to stop, patch him up, patch myself up, is this man right here on the right side of the screen, Larry Penton, which is my brother, friend, and colleague. And again, I wouldn't trust anybody else. So I'm telling you, if you're interested in getting that type of training, make sure you check them out.
Please do. You can contact me on social media. I'm on IG. It's at LP Fire Medic, all one word, LP Fire Medic. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. We have our company name, YouTube channel, Penton Pending Consulting Solutions LLC. Again, we have a podcast that's called Trigger Warning Talk Podcast, all 4 words. Trigger Warning Talk Podcast. We cover 5 topics. The top 4 that we cover are human and sex trafficking, domestic violence, sexually based offenses, true crime, and at the end of every episode, we do a missing person case. It could be something current, it could be a cold case, it could be a case that's gone by, that's been open for decades. Most of those cases are Black and brown folks because we want to bring more media attention to those cases that we don't see in the mainstream media, unfortunately. If you want to be a part of that conversation, it doesn't matter if you want to talk from a personal perspective or a professional perspective. Our podcast is international. You can catch it on any platform. You can watch it in 2 places, our YouTube channel, which is the company name, or Spotify. But you can listen to it on any platform that is your favorite platform, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, just wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We like people to watch and tune in because I'll bring graphics. I'll have people that will talk about their particular subject matter expertise also. So please, Trigger Warning Talk Podcast, uncensored conversations. We have a ton of resources and we exchange a lot of information. So keep that in mind. Safety is always first. Make sure you take a CPR Stop the Bleed class because it may be you or somebody that you know and like, not love, because that's a whole other conversation. You can love somebody but not like them. We'll talk about that later. But make sure that you connect with Melvin here if you want to learn more about security, become a security professional, not a bodyguard, an executive protection professional. We both are merit-based. We don't have to use DEI. Okay, if that's going to be a negative word, if they're going to weaponize it or people going to demonize it, okay. We want to talk about merit-based. You got 2 merit-based Black men who have their own companies who are networking and partnering to help us learn how to survive in these real times.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, LP. You signing out, man. I think I'll be back on Friday, but we're going to let's just keep this conversation going because they're not talking about mass shooters enough. Well, mass casualty incidents enough or mass violence incidents enough. So let's keep this conversation going. Appreciate you, my brother. I'm probably going to wrap up. I asked Bungie. Bungie said he was still on. I was going to, you go ahead and sign off and I'll catch up with you this weekend.
Peace and blessings, brother.
Love you, bro. Take care.
Love you too.
All right, guys. Girls, there's a link in here. If anybody has any questions, Bungie will tell you. If he was on here right now, he'll tell you to ask questions. I'll always offer that up. You can ask questions. If you're embarrassed to come on screen, ask it in the comments. If you're embarrassed to post your questions in the comments, send me a DM on Instagram. Send me an email. You can jump in my Discord. Let me see if I can post my Discord down there too. So now I'm kind of learning. I can have my computer up running here too, and at the same time, man, it's making me do a whole bunch of stuff. It's making me do a whole bunch of stuff to log in. So that probably won't. It probably won't work. But nonetheless, if you guys, if it don't, like I said, there it is, Bungie, right there. Ask a question if you have one. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna share. I don't know if I can share this Discord community with y'all. Let's see. Melvin's Discord server. Invite people. All right. I'm gonna post it right here. This way, if you feel embarrassed about asking on question on screen or leaving it in the comments, your question in the comments, click there and ask me for my Discord. Bungie just gave you the website link for the class. We have a class October 23rd through the 26th. I had a special running until August 25th. It is now past August 25th. If you register for any executive protection class, you would have got 50% off. Now, after August 25th, that class has now doubled in price. And I'm not talking about going back to the normal price. It has now doubled in price what it was. I think it was 2,600, now it's $5,200. But I will still honor the 50% off on the 2,600 if you want to be in this class. If you really want to exceed in this career, you're going to need some certifications behind you. You're going to need to be connected with the right people. That's what we do. We train over 100 people a year for executive protection jobs. A lot of them go on to work in the United States government. A lot of them go on to work in Fortune 500 companies. A lot of them go on to protect some of the celebrities and entertainers that you see on TV every day, that you see on YouTube every day, that you see on Instagram every day. This is what we do here. We're a small company, but we're the fastest growing executive protection school in the world. And I would venture to say the most popular, and just shying away from the best. I emphatically know that we're the best executive protection school out here. We get the biggest bang for the buck. So don't, if you're going to take a gamble, the take a gamble on yourself. That's what I say. Take a gamble on yourself. It pays the highest dividends, the highest returns. Um, Here, I'm here for business coaching, mentoring, and then even if you don't talk to me, just follow the content. Just go on here and you can binge watch content. I got people that I've never met that tell me how much this content has changed their life, how they can now see. It's like the Matrix. They can see everything in slow motion, where they can see how to move as executive protection professionals, where these people who call themselves executive protection professionals are making mistakes, and then they're using these things as weapons in their tool belts to make them better protectors. That is it. I'm also going to talk to you guys about building a company, because I built this from scratch, and now this is this amazing company that I'm looking forward to retiring to in a couple of years. But I went to the school of hard knocks before I ever stepped foot into college on any real long term basis. I had already become a millionaire. When I went to school for business administration, I had professors that were jealous of me because they just went to school for business, but they never ran a business. So I learned blood, sweat, and tears, literally. I'm talking about days when I would work in the office from 5 in the morning and get home at 11 o'clock at night, hadn't eaten, just grinded all day. And then when I got in there, one of the managers from one of the properties was calling and saying that the security guard didn't show up for the midnight shift. So I had worked from 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and now I have to work a midnight shift too. And at the same time, since I'm up, I'm here. I was a website designer, the secretary, the janitor, the bookkeeper, the accountant, the human resources director, the marketing guy, the advertising guy, the social media guy. I was all of that. And then when the person didn't show up at midnight for their shift, I had to put on a security guard uniform and go stand on the post. So I know a lot about building a business from the ground up, from scratch, from business planning, marketing, advertising, social media presence, website design, insurance, liability, where to get money, how to finance your business, how to keep your business going, how to make connection with corporate entities, government resources. I know all of that. So if you're looking to build a business right now, you've stumbled upon one of the best people in the United States, and maybe possibly in the world, to teach you that, who's accessible and who's willing to invest their time and energy in you. So don't let this opportunity pass you by. Lock this channel in, subscribe, like, share with somebody else. Hit this, become a member if you will. Hit the super chat, hit the likes, and keep following. Make sure you binge watch my content. All right, guys, I love you. Bungie, I guess we didn't get to you this time, but I'm going to bring you on next time, and let's have a topic. So, matter of fact, let's talk this weekend so that we can strategize how to make this thing run more efficient. I love you. Thank you for all that you do. Bungie, the right hand. You guys, if you don't follow him, I guess I could put, he don't post much on his content, so I wouldn't be worth posting. But if you want to make a contact with him and just be acquainted with some of the people in my network, I will post his Instagram right here. Uh, I don't know. How was it? Bungie Adams. I don't know how. You don't even show up on my Instagram. Okay. Well, nonetheless, love you guys. Larry, thank you. Budgie, thank you. Marie, my superstar for this live stream. Thank you for all have done. Thank you for all of your comments. All of you guys who have been on since this beginning, I really appreciate you. See you on Friday, 10 o'clock. And if you want me to move the time up or back, please tell me so I know. I'm not doing this on my own convenience. I'm trying to do it for you guys so I can reach the most of you. Appreciate you. Have a great one. Peace. I'm out.